This week's Extra Life on F5 Live Refreshing Technology is proudly powered by EXA. EXA brings the latest technology to gamers, offering the most immersive products for the ultimate gaming experience. They've compiled the best elements of cutting-edge ENC tech, the latest in Bluetooth 5.0 and 7.1 surround, plus extra features into their headsets so everyone can enjoy a sensational gaming experience. And they've got headsets for Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC. Plus, they won't break the bank. Learn more about the headsets that are available and any current promotions by going to f5live.tv/exa. There's an old adage, there are only two things that are true in life, that are inevitable in life, death and taxes. And I think we've missed one. I think the other inevitability is that if you use Nintendo's assets in any way, shape, or form, they will come after you. That has been true across all media, whether it be games, videos, or even fan-made art. Nintendo has a tendency to find out and come for you. They seem to have gotten their legal advice from Disney. And so this week we found out that the popular Valve product Garry's mod, which allows you to use the Steam assets, including the environment and things like that, to develop your own environment, games, and such, and then publish them to the world through the Steam Vault, the Steam Workshop, and people noticed that some of their content was starting to disappear, and so they asked, and the studio that produces it, Face Punch Studios, responded publicly on Steam saying, yes, we know people have noticed that their content is starting to disappear. It is because it contained Nintendo assets in any way, shape, or form, and yes, it's on purpose. It will continue to happen. We have 2 decades worth of content to sift through, and it's going to happen whether you like it or not. So if y'all would be nice, and if you know that there's Nintendo assets in your thing, if you pull it down yourself, it'll save us time and effort. And so people have, the Garry's mod community is a good one. And so when the studio asked, many creators responded positively, mostly because people know that Nintendo is not to be trifled with. This is what happens. It always happens. There's no getting around it. And the studio even said, it's their right. It's their content. Of course it should come down. And shame. Obviously, there has been content with Nintendo characters and assets in it for 2 decades. So why is Nintendo coming after them now? I suspect, semi-related to our last topic, it has to do with AI and the proliferation of content online that is too close to or even semi-direct ripoffs of Nintendo products, Pal World. Nintendo's not happy about Pal World. They're not happy about the fact that even Microsoft has publicly supported it by putting it on Game Pass. And that's an AI-generated Pokemon with guns-ish. So I think Nintendo has gone into user-generated content protective mode now because of stuff like that. And so I expect this is the first of many stories like this we'll hear as Nintendo starts to lock down their IP a little tighter. And I think Pal World and AI in general have a lot to do with it. What do you think, Abram? That's my take.
Yeah, I mean, what I find interesting is this kind of selective enforcement of things. Like, why are they enforcing it now?
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying maybe because of Pal World, but you know, I mean, I think we're all waiting for the shoe to drop on AI content,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems like it's not happening, right? Like we proved, I proved months ago that you can get the major AI generators to make Mario for you and to make Mario doing things that are extremely off brand,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, so and if they won't make Mario when you say Mario, if you just put something like video game plumber, then it will give you
Mm-hmm.
Mario, right?
Yeah.
So um, so it seems that these are always selective enforcements. And my guess is if you were in the halls of power at Nintendo, wherever that is, uh, somebody noticed this and it became a crusade. Well, I don't know if it was like a long crusade, but somebody probably didn't notice it before, or the people who did notice it didn't care. But somebody in the management now noticed it and said, "Uh oh," you know, said, "This, I can't believe this has been allowed to go on. Somebody write a letter." Like it doesn't. They have lawyers whose job this is. It doesn't cost them much um, to send DMCA takedown notices, and because they are Nintendo and they're a big company and they have a reputation, their takedown is going to be taken very, very seriously. So,
Right.
yeah,
And
it may, yeah,
in particular, it's going to be taken seriously because it's Nintendo, right?
right,
And
exactly,
they have this history of going after companies. They have not, from what I can see, they have not yet filed their suit against Pal World, but I imagine they have said that they will.
hmm
And technically, it's the Pokemon company that would be taking action, and not Nintendo. But Nintendo's majority owner. There's a whole weird structure thing, but they know not to mess around with Nintendo, just like people know not to mess around with Disney. If Disney sends a cease and desist, I don't care who you are, unless you're Apple and like a dragon, you're hoarding cash. You do not have the money to defend the IP suit that Disney or Nintendo will bring, and so it's just
right,
not, because they will win one way or another. They will get the content removed, they will get tons of money from you, or you will cease to exist. Those are the ways
right,
Nintendo and Disney
right.
behave when it comes to IP. But I
I
think you're right. I think the reason why this was not enforced before is because, and in particular, Pal World, because big game. There was at one point over 1 million active players in the game at one time, which is a huge milestone for any game, right? Microsoft legitimized it by putting it in Game Pass. It was available on Steam, still is available on Steam. I think it's still in Game Pass. And it was essentially Pokemon with guns. And then they started looking, where else might our characters or things similar to our characters be with guns? And they found things in the Garry's Mod environment that were Mario with guns and Zelda and Link with guns and things like that. And they're like, uh-oh, no. And they're like, here's a huge catalog. Here's one target. It's Valve. We can send an email to Valve, and Valve will back off, which is exactly what happened. So
right,
they were able to hit
right, exactly.
a bunch of infringement with one letter, which makes it easy.
I still have to get wonder why they haven't sent a letter to OpenAI or Microsoft or Midjourney or Stability
Mm-hmm.
about the fact that they are allowing Disney characters or Nintendo characters to be, you can easily ask for Mario with a gun, but
Mhm.
the I my guess is because they probably are invested in those companies. They probably are invested in at least some of those companies. Um, Although they can't be invested in all of them, right? So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe they just don't understand. Uh, but um, but nevertheless, um, that's the maybe someday we'll actually see a lawsuit there. But in the meantime, yeah, like this was somebody who was profiting heavily off of it, and yeah,
Yeah. Totally makes sense. And my suspicion is, like I said, my suspicion is we're gonna see more of this, particularly from Nintendo, in the short term. I don't know where else we might see it, but I do suspect that we'll see more of this in the short term. As a note, I tried to do a couple of workaround images here, and Microsoft stepped on a bunch of them. I did end up getting a video game plumber with a water gun. They kept ending my session. They're like, it might be time to move on to a new topic. But I did get a water gun. So they may have read your article. Anyway.
yeah, maybe. It comes and goes with these things too. Like you
Yeah,
can't.
it's true.
You could try tomorrow and get a different result.
Right, absolutely. And that's a fascinating. You might be able to do it back to back and get different results.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I think a few weeks ago I did a story about anti-Semitic outputs on
mhm.
that I found on Copilot Designer, and a bunch of people came on and were like, "I wasn't able to reproduce this, so you're lying or whatever." And
Uh-huh.
um, all I can say is like with all of these things, you will get the results some of the time. And by the way, if you're doing Copilot Designer, you get much more fewer guardrails if you go straight to Copilot Designer to the direct URL of it than if you use like Copilot
Oh.
Chat. So if you use, there seems to be an extra guardrail in there with Copilot Chat, where if you ask it to do something, it'll say, "I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to do that." Because I feel like there's software layers here, and like one layer is the chat, and it will pass your request along to the image generator. But if you go straight to the image generator, straight to the Copilot Designer homepage, it doesn't go through the chat, so that's one fewer layer. It still has some safeguards or whatever, but not as many.
Okay. Um that's interesting. Uh I wasn't aware of that.
So if you like go to copilot.microsoft.com/images/create, for example, um, that um,
Oh, all of my previous creations are here too. On
yeah,
the
it,
right.
it,
I
it
didn't
does have a
realize that.
record. It does keep a record of those, but it's fewer. You know,
I absolutely
so
got a different result this time doing it from uh doing it from the website.
yeah. So in
Wild.
fact, I
Okay.
think the Bing, if you do it under bing.com/images/create, that's even better. I mean, I think it's probably the same, but UI, but the UI is a little better. So if you go to bing.com/images/create, you get straight to like, this is where I go to test it.
Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. Now I know how to play with this a little bit more, which I appreciate. But
Yeah.
yeah, so as far as Nintendo and Gary's mod is concerned, nobody at Face Punch seems to be upset about this. In fact, they said, "Yeah, of course, it's their IP. This was inevitable." And my guess is we'll see a little bit more of this in the coming weeks and or months from Nintendo. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course hit the notification bell because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.